Capture this. Okay, got it. All right. All right. So I want to thank everyone for carving out time on their Saturday morning. You can be anywhere in the world. You could still be in bed like Tony, but you're here. So what I would love to do right now is to give everyone at least a minute to introduce yourself and answer the question, how has COVID-19 affected your overall fitness? So we're going to start with Commander Jerry Taylor. Over.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jerry Taylor. I am Commander of Southern Maryland Chapter 96. Retired Army Sergeant Major, 29 years. And how COVID has affected me. I've had to go from physical therapy to strength training. The one thing I've noticed that my metabolism has slowed down, and I'm having a challenge keeping my BMI between 27 and 29. The goal is to keep the weight between 180 and 185. So I'm having trouble with the old elbow. It just loves to go to the mouth. So these are challenges that I am dealing with. But then at the same time, we understand, the same discipline that it takes to accomplish any mission when your physical fitness and your overall health is the issue. You have to have that same discipline, a soldier, airman, sailor. All right.
Yeah. Thanks, Jerry. And you bring up a good point. We have to eat, but we can determine exactly what we need to eat and how often we eat in order to, I think it's good to have a range in which you want to keep your weight and your BMI and maybe even your waist measurement versus a pinpoint. Okay, I want my waist to be, 34 inches versus, okay, if I fluctuate a little bit between 34 and 36, okay, but when I get over 36, I need to really make some things happen. So I appreciate you bringing it up, Jerry. Next, we will go to Ellsworth, Tony Williams.
Hey, everybody, how you doing? First of all, I'm an Army veteran, 24 years enlisted, 8 years enlisted, 16 commissioned, and got an active duty ROTC scholarship. So I'm bilingual. And I'm also a military brat from a career military guy. So that, that veteran stuff is in my DNA. I founded, when I got out of the military in 2007, I rebranded myself, got a master's in counseling, and created a nonprofit called Veterans Counseling Veterans. Started out in 2014. It's, God won't let it fail. So it's still moving, it's more work, right? More work. But, anyway, I met Dr. X on something. I forget what it is, I probably on LinkedIn. So I just want to make sure that we support each other. That's very important that we support each other and our efforts. So thanks to you. Now that COVID, that's interesting because it all depends on when the question is asked. Because when it started, I got fat as hell. Okay, it didn't exercise much, whatever. I just kind of, I'm an RV guy, so we stay at the RV. But right now, it's gotten better. I exercise more. My eating still sucks, which you mentioned. I got to make adjustments on that. But my exercise has definitely improved when it comes to that. So that's how it affected me. Thanks, Dr. X.
Thank you, Tony. And that's one thing about the eating and the working out. And I'm sure Jesse will touch on this. You can't work out a diet that is, bringing in hundreds and even thousands of calories. But you got to eat. But at the same time, there's ways in which we can manage our energy input. So, but no, I'm glad you brought that up, Tony, because I deal with the same issue. I probably took in, I don't know, maybe a couple of thousand calories yesterday during happy hour, and my little workout this morning was probably about 500 calories. So that surplus over time will lead to weight gain. So thanks for bringing that up. Next, we will have Eddie Peters.
Hey, good day, everyone. Eddie Peters here, Air Force, aim high. And I really happy to be here. Basically, in terms of professionally, I am a business owner, and along with my wife, and we've owned our business, Legal Shield and ID Shield. Basically, in a nutshell, we make law firms affordable for all of us regular folk out here that have more questions than answers. And if you notice, especially as adults, typically when you have more questions than answers, it's more expensive, one way or another. That's just the way it is. No more, especially than in your legal life. So we make sure to let folks know that what seems logical is not always legal. And staring at 22 years now, very happily serving in that manner. In terms of COVID, on a couple of things, having experienced COVID itself, me personally also as well, it just reminded me just how fragile life really can be, and how any and everything can come around the corner. It really has made me just that much more aware of how we really do need to hug somebody every day, let somebody know you love them. I've lost dear friends, one of which it still bothers me to no end that I didn't even know he was sick, and he was a picture of health. Command Sergeant Major back in El Paso, Texas, where I lived for so long, and all of a sudden got a call that he was just gone. It still bothers me to this day, big time. So reminds me to just take care of myself, do as much as I can from an exercise standpoint. And remind others to just be safe out there, big time.
Yeah. Thanks, Eddie. And you bring up a good point about fitness. Without fitness, we can be more susceptible to the virus. I know this Delta variant is no joke, but as you can imagine, if you're not in shape, then that just makes it easier for this new variant to wreak havoc. So I appreciate that. Next, we will have Dale Dix.
Good morning, everyone.
Good
So
morning.
nice to be here. My name is Dale Dix. I'm a retired Marine. Beyond Marine Corps, I went to work for Fannie Mae and I retired from there. Today, I'm a financial educator. I show people how money works. I give away a book called How Money Works. It was the best-selling personal finance book in 2020, and I give that book away because I want to overcome the epidemic of financial illiteracy in our world, first in America and then beyond. So that's what I do. I do some volunteer work over at the VA Medical Center here in the Martinsburg, West Virginia area. I was introduced to this fine organization by Mr. Jesse Citizen, and I'm so delighted that he saw it to reach out to me and to invite me here, because I've really enjoyed my time here. So thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, Dale. Appreciate that. Now, the question is, how has COVID-19 affected your overall fitness?
Great question. I didn't hear everyone else's responses, but I did hear Ellsworth's, and I could echo some of the same things. I put on quite a bit of weight, and looked at myself on a video a couple months ago, and I realized that I was in trouble. so I had to make a significant paradigm shift, and I purchased myself a Peloton bike, and man, that thing is a monster, Jesse. That thing is a monster, man. I didn't know what I was getting into. But I've actually lost about 20 pounds over the last 30 days, and I went out yesterday morning. Yesterday I went out at 6 o'clock in the morning. I hadn't done that in so long, right? It was so peaceful and calm, and I just wanted to run all day. It reminded me of being in the car. So I'm going to do some things differently going forward. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. And sometimes we have to invest in ourselves. Things like Peloton bikes and treadmills and things of that nature. It just helps us versus always. I think it was Jerry who said that at one point he had to run 10 miles a day, 7 days a week. But over time, with joints and knees and things of that nature, it can wreak havoc. So I guess my point is, you need to consider purchasing the devices that could enhance your lifestyle. So thanks for sharing that, Dale. Next, we will have Bryant Hayes.
Hey, how's it going? Bryant
Morning.
Hayes, like Xavier said, and retired last year, 2020, and just I don't know, just kind of floating around right about now when it comes to what I've been doing. But I can't say that it's been terribly bad. The pandemic has done our family quite well. We've strived, and one thing I do like to point out is that some of the things that you were forced to do, they fall apart really quickly when you're not forced to do them anymore. But the things that you love to do, you kind of continue to do that, and you do it just willingly. So I've always been a gym rat, not because the military told me I had to. So that was something I've always engaged in. And just the other day, as a check, I went ahead and put my uniform on, my blues, just to make sure they fit, and I was good to go. So, so to me, that's a sign of I'm maintaining. Of course, there's going to be things that I want to indulge in, but for the most part, I've been trying to stay active this entire time. So again, thanks again, Xavier, for inviting me here.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you. And it's all about staying active. Once we get out, we don't have that yearly or now biannual test anymore. So we're like, you know what? I'm just going to, just partake whenever and not have to worry about having my waist measurement and my run time down to, under a certain amount of minutes. But for most of us, we still have that sense of wanting to maintain our weight and still look the same. So it's never too late, get into our 40s, 50s, 60s, and we may look in the mirror and say, wow, I'm just way out of control. But it's never too late to go ahead and get fit to fight again. Next, we will have Dedrin Dunbar.
Good morning, everyone. Dedrin Dunbar, hometown friend of Dr. X here. We grew up together, played ball together. He decided to go to this little school out in Colorado Springs. I went to the real school up at West Point.
Here we go.
But anyway, that's I digress. But anyway, as far as fitness goes, man, through COVID, I had an interesting experience. On the first part, I used nature. I found being at home a lot. And so I started chopping wood. And I get out there and I just go out and chop some wood daily. And it really, along with a little bit of few push-ups and some things like that kind of did. But also I picked up this little thing where I started eating like I was grazing versus eating meals. I would keep nuts. I keep nuts and fruit in around, and I really wouldn't have. I have a grazing meal in the morning and a grazing meal, and that's kind of kept me from getting too big because I bloated in the past, and I know what big feels like. But overall, though, I've been conscientious about what I put in versus basis rather than the workouts itself. But it's helped me, and as I focus more on centering myself around just being present. So
Awesome.
that's where I'm at right now, physically, just making sure mentally and everything are in line.
Yes, absolutely. And Dedrin, you bring up a good point about grazing. One thing that I do is I try to fast until at least 8 a.m. So I try not to bring in anything with calories until around 8. Some people fast until 10, 11, 12. But then when I break my fast at 8, I graze like on blueberries and nuts, so that when I come out of that fast, I'm not like eating, eggs or bacon or a huge amount of carbohydrates. And I tell you what, it has helped me maintain my weight. So don't be afraid to graze, and it's okay to be a little bit hungry. Sometimes we don't want to be hungry at all, but it's okay to be, a little bit hungry. And then when you come out of that hunger, to not overdo it. So I'm glad you brought that up. And next we will have Tiara Sterling. Tiara?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Tiara Sterling. I'm actually currently a midshipman at the Naval Academy. I'm in my first year, prior enlisted, so I do have fleet experience. But in about 9 or 10 months, I'll be back out there. So just looking to make it through this final year. And I was referred to this group by Denise Stevens. She's a faculty member here, great person, and she recommended that I join in. Had no intentions of speaking, but since we're on the topic, I think I struggled more with COVID mentally than physically. Being here at the Naval Academy, all of the students, we stay in the same building, we're on the campus. And, you know, I have my closest friends in the same building, but because of certain rules that we had in place, I couldn't see them, couldn't really spend any time with them. And it was mentally challenging more than anything, especially being here with the academic load. It was so much. And then people back home were getting sick, not being able to really communicate and see them the way I wanted to. And in order to kind of combat that, taking walks really went a long way. And hopefully I would see a friend in passing that would always brighten my day. But prayer and meditation helped a lot as well. And just trying to focus more on academics, focus more on the positives as opposed to the circumstances that we were dealing with, because we were locked up quite a few times this past year, just full-blown quarantines, couldn't leave the base. And it was probably one of the toughest things I've had to deal with mentally, but it seems like we're on the brighter side of things, and I'm looking forward to having a way better year than we did last year. And thanks again for having me here.
And thank you for showing up, and good luck at finishing up your first year, your senior year at the Naval Academy. I want to give you
Thank you
a hand for making it this far. So, but you know, God didn't bring you this far just to bring you this far. So you're amongst, and please invite some of your classmates to this, because this is all about veterans, particularly Black veterans, having a conversation about how to persevere during the COVID-19 pandemic. Yeah.
Jay, on a quick note,
Yeah.
Miles Fales, do you know Miles Fales from last year? I sat on his admissions board. I sat on his admissions board. He's going to be the governor of Arkansas one day. Watch.
I can see it. I can see it.
Fantastic. And that's the beauty of this. I mean, small world. This is great. So now, I guess before we go to our guest speaker, I want to introduce myself. I'm Dr. Xavier Bruce, U.S. Air Force retired Lieutenant Colonel, CEO of Uplift Energy Coaching, Executive Director of Uplift Empowerment, and also the chapter commander for the National Association for Black Veterans, Western Maryland chapter. And our goal in these conversations is to expand the awareness of the impact of COVID-19 and other health disparities on Black veterans. So now on to what you all have been waiting for. For more than 40 years, he has continuously collaborated across a global environment, gaining in-depth multicultural expertise and global leadership experience. He has completed courses towards a Doctorate of Business Administration degree, HOS, a Master of Science degree in Aeronautical Science, Public Administration, and Strategic Planning, respectively, along with a BS in Mental Health, Nursing Technology, and Business Administration, with an in-residence attendance at the prestigious U.S. Air Force Air War College and OPM Federal Executive Institute. In 2019, he was awarded the Office of the Secretary of Defense Medal for Civilian Career Service for 11 years of federal service. He is now excited to leverage his extensive leadership background and education in developing today's leaders and professionals in the 21st century marketplace. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jesse Citizen, U.S. Air Force Colonel, retired. Over to you, sir.
Hey, good morning. Thank you very much, Dr. X. Hello, everyone. My pleasure to be here. My wife will be popping in and out. It's early for her. You'll see her. That's Dr. Marilyn Pepper Citizen. She was on earlier.
Oh, I saw her.
Yes, that's my wife. She's a bit shy this early in the morning. It's a little early for her. She's also Air Force retired colonel. We both served together. I retired 2006. She retired 2010. She went on to get her PhD in the public policy, specializing in continuity of operation. I was working on mines in business administration, burning up my remaining GI Bill. I have 3 masters. I just not like Dr. X and my wife. And I know some say, I'll go back and do that. Nah, I'm at peace. I'm happy where I'm at. Dale Dixon and I work together for a woman-owned business called Inclusion Alchemy, where we do executive coaching. And we work with industry and helping them develop diversity, equity, and inclusiveness. I also sub as a contractor in IT. But the topic that I want to talk to you today is about, one, how to stay fit in COVID, and my personal experience. I put on the table early. Yeah, I do hold a degree in mental health nursing. However, that's where that degree stops, because I hadn't been in that practice in many years. My initial job in the military was within, can you see the screen?
Yes, yes, we
Okay,
can.
my initial job in the military was as a medic. And I heard someone mention that they serve as, I'm not getting a presentation of the people for some reason, so it must be me here. But I served as a medic enlisted from January 1974 to 1979. From then, I transferred over to the officer side, like Tiara. Spent my time, went through OTS, was on that war fighting side. I was the air operations, worked on ground radars and airborne radars, AWACS. You might be familiar with that aircraft. And from there, I spent the rest of my time either working in line units, operational, headquarters, and in the Pentagon, retired out of the Pentagon in 2006 and switched over. So my personal experience with the medicine side started early in my career, and I stayed focused on that. What I want to say, I got to give my caveat. I'm sharing from my personal experience. When I retired in 2019, as I did when I retired from the Air Force, my goal was to keep my weight down, and that's been my career aspiration. And I do that in a number of ways. I look at life from the biological, psychological, and social aspects of being human. And I say that to say we have to look at our life, just like in the Air Force some years ago, we had this whole person concept. Well, that's how I look at life. I heard some mention about being strategic. At an early age, I took a strategic view at being healthy and how I wanted to retire from the Air Force, and then how I wanted to maintain my health over that time. And that's been my quest. During COVID, I know I might make some of you a little irritated. I lost 8 pounds during COVID. That was my goal. My goal, and I stay between 185 and 190 pounds as my measure of success on how I am managing my health. Now, today, I'm not here to talk solely about managing your weight. I'm here to talk to you about how to maintain a healthy, fit lifestyle. And it's never too late to develop your plan on what you want to do that is within your level of expectation and ability to do things. For example, Marilyn, my wife, she teaches yoga, wheelchair yoga, as a therapeutic activity. And what that does is help individuals in wheelchair have some movement. And it's all about movement. In my family, there are several. My father and my mother's in their mid-80s. I have aunts and uncles in their mid-80s. And we always share with them, keep moving. The key is to do something on a daily basis, consistently, and to move. So I'll ask, are there any questions? Please feel free to come in at any time. And if you would help me with the questions of Dr. X, because I'm not seeing the screen and I don't want to fight with it this morning.
Okay, will do.
Okay. And if no questions, I go on to this. So the material that I am using is from the Veterans Affairs, their website. And they have this concept, and there's an app to go with it, and I shared it at the end. It talks about whole life, the benefits of fitness. I think in our life, dealing with the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic is just one of the data points, one of the obstacles in life that we're going to have to deal with. Each of us, as we look back, have had serious experiences, whether it was in the biopsychosocial, biological, psychological, or sociological experience, where we had reasons to let our fitness slide or let our health slide for many. And mine was, early in my career, I spent 7 years in Germany, where I enjoyed German food and German wine and having a good time. And I put on about 20 pounds in that. And that affected me. Cholesterol went up, and a lot of those things brought that down, managing. So my goal has been to look at life in that bio, psycho, physiological view to help prevent those things as heart disease, high blood pressure, and diabetes. One of my buddies, and Dale know him, was just recently diagnosed this week with having type 1 diabetes. And now he's wanting to go out and stay fit. As my recommendation has always been, avoid that by preventive maintenance. Prevent, relieve stress, depression, and back problems. That also helps boost your energy. Why fitness? You need to continue exercising to keep benefits. If you don't do it, it doesn't improve and you don't sustain it. It's like medicine. Medicine is only good if we take it. If you don't take your medicine, then you have issues. I have found that I have a very focused exercise fitness plan. I choose things I like. So when I finish today, one of my cycling buddies and I, we're gonna go out and do a 40-mile ride, training for a longer ride. So I do those type of things, but on a day-to-day basis, I do something. My regimen is get up, shave, say my prayers, meditate, then go into, come down to the basement, depending on what kind of work schedule I do. But before I do that, like Dr. X said this morning, I'm gonna knock out a few push-ups, set-ups, and some other exercises that are here. I try to reach that 150 minutes a week of continuous type exercises, but I don't just do cycling. Some days I'll do walking. Other days I'll do, I have not a Peloton, I went on got the competitor Bowflex Velocorp inside bicycle and some other exercise equipment that helps me stay mobile. So this is where I'm gonna break up the dialogue and go to some of the VA pages. But when I talk about biopsychosociology, what I'm talking about is the circle of health. It is talking about moving the body, the power of mind, spirit and soul, the social side, family, friends, and co-worker, meditation for recharge, what you eat and what you drink, monitoring that, your personal development, regardless of what that is, second, third career. I'm in my third career now and enjoying it. And my fourth one is just going to be spending time with my family once I stop doing that. So with that, I'll take a moment and stop talking and share these videos. They're each about 3 minutes long. Again, their focus is on the veterans. Am I sharing that, Dr. X?
Not yet. We still see your
Yeah, let me try this. Can you see it now?
Not yet.
Yeah, let me go to the, let me stop sharing and click over to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about the technology there.
Health 4.
How about now?
Okay, yep, we can see it now.
Okay.
What is your mission in life? Whole health goes beyond illnesses, injuries, or disabilities. It focuses on your values and aspirations, your health and well-being. It may include self-care strategies and complementary therapies such as acupuncture, massage, and yoga, along with your conventional medical care. As a veteran, you committed your life and health to mission success in defense of our country. Now we want to help you be mission ready for your life. The core mission of the Veterans Health Administration is to honor America's veterans by providing exceptional health care that improves their health and well-being. Exceptional care is different than it used to be. It now includes getting to know you better, learning what matters most to you, focusing on your goals for your life and health, and supporting you in addressing your well-being and self-care. By engaging in this shift to whole health, you are not only contributing to your own health and well-being, but to the transformation of healthcare for your fellow veterans and the nation. Healthcare usually focuses on preventive care, lowering risk, and illness and disease. Are your cancer screenings and flu shots up to date? Do you feel sick or are you injured? Do you smoke or is your weight healthy? What medications are you on and how are your test results? These things are still important, and whole health is more than that. Whole health goes beyond traditional health care and focuses on what is important to you in your life and how you want to live your life. It includes self-care and things you can do to increase healing and improve your health and well-being. Research shows that the most important ingredient in being healthy is how you take care of yourself, and you don't need a medical background to do that. Medical care is important, and how you live your life between medical appointments makes a big difference. Self-care is not something you have to figure out on your own. In the whole health approach, you have the opportunity to look at all areas of your life, areas of strength, and aspects where support could be helpful to you. We call these the components of proactive health and well-being. These areas of self-care include working your body, exercise and movement for energy, flexibility, and strength. Surroundings, how things around you affect your body and emotions. Personal development, learning and growing throughout your lifetime. Food and drink, nourishing your body. Recharge, sleep, rest, relaxation. Family, friends, and co-workers, your relationships with others. Spirit and soul, a sense of connection. Purpose and meaning. And power of the mind, tapping into your ability to heal and cope. You may be wondering, how will whole health help me? Think about your own experiences. Military missions are each unique and need to be adjusted as conditions change. You may have to adapt and overcome. Likewise, there's no one approach to help all people be their healthiest. In a whole health approach, each person is unique. Care is geared to your needs and goals. You are at the center of care.
Quick question.
Oh, we have a question from Dale. Jesse, you're on mute. I muted you. I think you were there was some background noise, so I muted you. But Dale
My
has
wife joined me down here.
Yeah, when you started talking, I was like, oh, let me go ahead and mute him before he says something.
Thank you, Doc.
Yep, too easy. I think
Like I
Dale
said,
has a
it's
question.
early in the morning for her. I'm just happy she's here with me.
Yeah. Sure.
My question was, Jesse, do you have the chart of the whole health that we just So I tried to capture it on with a
Yes. So I do,
Okay.
Bill, and it's embedded in the presentation. So when Doc sends it out,
Okay.
it will bring it up. And you know, I always have more than you want to present. And so I'm not going to go into that, but it's one that you can go to on the website. And if you hover over it, it'll give you some descriptions of it. And so it's in the presentation. Let me just get it back to that presentation there.
Yeah, I can see Jesse was real serious, so I had to make some coffee, man, so I can stay awake for the test afterwards.
Well, that was a good one there. But yeah, there we go. Okay. So yeah, it's a serious topic too. But the point I want to emphasize is that, you know, a lot of us focus up on just the physical side of it. It is more, it's the biological, social, and biological, cycle, and social side of it. And to me, they're all interdependent, interrelated. And when you don't pay attention to one of them, then you're lacking on that whole health, fitness activity. So that's what I want you to focus on. And I sort of avoided just as we did in the beginning, talking about weight, because I see fitness more than just weight. I see it as being just how you take care of yourself across the board, to include doing those things like taking your prescription meds and so on. I am asthmatic. And so that's one of my only chronic illness besides sinuses. But, you know, if I don't manage that asthma, then I can't do what I want to do, walking, exercising, enjoying family, and doing other things. So that is why I maintain, in my case, a daily fitness program to stay healthy. And what does that involve? Yes, that involves me managing my health with a healthcare provider. At this point in life, I understand what I have to talk to about with my healthcare providers, and I deal with them as financial advisors. They can advise me on my health. I have to make the decision, and just like in financial advisors, they can tell you about how you should be spending your money, but at the end of the day, is what efforts you take to manage your challenges in life and your advantages in life. So that's what this slide is about, is first, check your health. If you haven't been working out, and if we inspire you to go do some things, before you do it, get into a heavy program, please check with your health provider. Any questions before I go on to the next one?
Hey, Colonel, I have a question and slash comment, sir.
I'm sorry, I'm not getting the screen. I don't want to fight with it.
All right. Yeah, when you were talking about the whole health, the first time I saw that screen up, earlier when we were talking about how COVID has affected us, I know my comment had to do with just how fragile life can be and so forth. Well, I'm also a cancer survivor, and I noticed that was on the slide also as well, in terms of, how you take care of your health across the board. Diabetes was on there, of course, and I was pre-diabetic, and was really overly concerned about that also as well. But I guess I just wonder, sir, when it comes to those of us who have had cancer, I'm happy to say I've been kicking its butt and sending it back to where it came from since my diagnosis of health. But that takes you into a whole nother aspect of your health as well, because it's on the mental side. When you hear that, it changes everything. It literally changes everything, because you just don't know. And you literally start making plans that you didn't have any desire to make plans of, and thoughts and so forth. Sir, how do you talk to those of us, if you will, because I'm sure you have addressed it, in talking to those of us who have had that experience, and those, of course, that still struggle with it, in keeping strong both physically as much as you can and mentally?
So first, I'll go back to my initial caveat. I'm not in the medical career field, but I share my personal experience with you.
Right.
Two of my buddies, one retired Marine, his name is Willie Brown, and him and I go to church together. And he's currently just completed a series of chemotherapy treatment for his prostate cancer. And he's been fighting it on. Him and I have been talking about it for the last 4 or 5 years, and he's coming out of it and going into remission. And another one is an individual named Tony. He has some type of cancer that attacked his scalp, and I can't remember the name of it. But my personal experience has been not so much as with the seriousness of cancer, but I've had left and right knee replacements. And I was sure that my approach was, as you see on the screen, because if you ever had any of those type replacements, then you know coming out of that surgery is as bad as the pain before. And one is avoiding being addicted on those drugs that they give you. So mine is that it takes that holistic approach, that's a circle of life. For me, I spent a lot of time in prayer. Now, some would call that mindfulness. For me, it was prayer. Others look at things like meditation and so on. So, but I would open that up to the group also, because there might be others that want to give feedback on that. And I'm not certain.
So
and my wife wants to chime in here in a little bit.
Hey, real quick, this is Bryant. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, Brian.
So I would start off by saying, I forget, was it who was it that spoke about his cancer treatment?
Yeah, that Eddie Peters.
Eddie,
Yes.
Eddie, definitely something not specifically to that regard, but a few years back in about 2007 or so, I had a really bad migraine headache for a couple days, and I ended up going to the hospital. And at that point, the nurse told me I had 7 days to live, right? And you're talking about something that's a culture shock. They thought I had bacterial meningitis. And so they were like, this is it. And so at that point, and this is where, if you've heard me talk, I just kind of float. I just kind of relax and just not be too stressed. And that's one of the reasons, because, it was having that, even though I'm fortunate, it was a misdiagnosis, it kind of put me in perspective. When you get at your lowest, it identifies, again, who you really are. And at that point, it just made me figure out that, these bills I don't care about. I wasn't necessarily thinking about my weight at the time. There's so many other things, and that's being with family and friends. And so in that regard, like, how can I extend the time? And so when I look at fitness, I look at it as an extension on how I can be with my family for longer. And that's always been my motivation. My wife and my son, they argue with me, my daughter, why are you always going to the gym? Because it gives me a time to just relax, just to be by myself, think about the things that are important, so when I'm done with my 30, 45, maybe even an hour, I can get back to doing the business of family, get back to doing the business of me. And so I do, mental is a huge aspect of, coming out of any type of, adverse diagnosis. But I will tell the group, my son is 5, and we went to the basketball court. And he said, you can't touch the backboard. And I was like, well, you know what? Your dad got ups. So I slapped the backboard and I had to go sit down. So let's manage expectations. So in that same regard, let's manage expectations as well on the things that you used to do.
Yes.
Long as you slapped it, though, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Now he didn't see me go sit down. Now
that's right.
So, hey, thank you, Brian. And Eddie, did you have any other questions? Because that's an important question. So my wife gave me a note, and the note says, every cell in your body hears what you think. Now, that's a little deep for me, so she might want to say something else on it. But every cell in your body hears what you think. You gotta say anything, though? No, they can't see you. Come on.
Just to the point that how you think, what you think, and how you approach whatever it is you're doing has a substantial impact on the outcome. And your thoughts are more than just these fleeting words that go through your mind. Your thoughts result in chemical reactions in your body. So at all times, it's so important to speak to yourself from a positive aspect. That's all I wanted to add.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. I mentioned earlier Veterans Counseling Veterans, and I actually have a broadcast with LinkedIn and that kind of stuff. I would like to have us have this conversation in a bigger audience, because as African Americans, and that's one of the challenges. I work at the VA, okay? I mean, I don't work for them, but as Veterans Council Veterans, I have a partnership with them. And African Americans, often those wholeness guys don't look like us. They don't understand the additional stressors that we deal with, you know? So when they, you know, they'll sit there and tell you to look at, you know, Mr. Rogers or something, and think that's the way the world works, right? So I would like one of these days to have a broadcast with some of us on here again to sit there and talk about that whole part that your wife just mentioned. That's powerful, but just so they can see what we do as example of how we deal with the stresses that we still deal with it, man. We still deal with racism. You know, there's racism in the military. Don't anybody kid you. You know, I've been there. There's racism in the military, and there's racism out here. I think there's more racism in the veteran world than in the military world. Just look at the pictures. You look at all these pictures of all these veteran organizations, they must almost always white. Almost all white. We don't. So I just wanted to mention that in the future, sometime, Dr. X, whatever, we can have a broadcast just with us together, you know, and our broadcast on LinkedIn. We won't call it black because that, you know, oh, divisive. But we'll just say, you know, something where we can talk about what we're talking about right now. So that's my thing, man. Thanks.
Yeah, Brother Tony Williams, I'll pass it on to my wife because she probably won't be interested in being in that podcast.
Yeah.
Hey, your wife, I'm telling you right now, I'm part of NAACP, right? Which is like, I keep asking God, are you sure? But, you know, because, you know, God, when someone come to us, I need a lot of affirmations, man. I need like a daily affirmation for when it comes to us. But I'm right now in the process of getting, I got like 8-9 professional African-American veterans. And it's hard for me to get them connected with the local county people, the local officials. Do you know that the only person that says yes so far to meet them is a Cuban dude? The blacks don't even, they don't value us much. So I'm just saying, so your wife will be definitely welcome later on as I broaden this. But yeah, she has a lot to say, and I'm in military sexual trauma. That's my thing also. So I'll definitely listen to her as well. So anyway, that's me.
And this is from Ms. Shipman Tierras. My wife serves 26 years in the logistician side. So she has that background on the understanding the operation and logistical side of it. Just for the record, we got one Ms. Shipman on there. She's prior enlisted now going through. So hey Doc, I've reached my goal. My whole page was the whole life one, but I'll just go 2 minutes to get through the presentation.
Oh yeah, sure.
You know, I'm a Myers-Briggs type ENTJ. If I don't have closure, man, I can't function. So one, you got to do exercise for a healthy heart, and this is more on both the bio and the psychological side. Yeah, that's some social if you're doing it with some other folks, but it can improve the way your heart and muscle use oxygen, which energize you and make you feel better. When you oxygenate your body routinely, it helps clear your head. And I think if someone was talking about going to it might have been Brian talking about working out for yourself and making that a priority. Do it regular. There are some links here on these links. They will take you to some actual materials with about 2 pages that talking papers that help you get started on your exercises if you need that, as well as it gives you a little wallet card to help you see some things you go. There's an app that they're talking about, the Whole Life. I did register on it, and I think it would be useful if you don't have any other tools that you need to monitor yourself. So as I mentioned, for me, I need closure when I'm doing things, and some people need to keep records of what they do. But you know, we've heard this, and Tony, I think it was you're talking about the things that we have dealt with as people of color, African American folks in the defense environment now as veterans. That's stress management. And here's about the individual getting a job, but pick the stimulus that's causing the stress for you. And you know, and what Marilyn said, every cell in your body hears what you're thinking. When you're going through stress, you're dealing with that. So, you know, you need to be able to work through it at both biological, psychological, and social. Talk with people about that. This is the app. If you follow that app, this link here and there, it will take you to that app that is very beneficial to get you there. My note on this one is, when you're talking to your healthcare provider, whether it's virtual or in person, have you some questions. Let them know what your challenges are and why it is important for you to do certain things. For me, my drivers, things that I like to do is, one, I like to be able to go cycle, ride my bicycle. To do that, I have to maintain health as in strength training, health as in aerobic training, and all the other things that make that. And it allows me, as one of the, I think it was Brian said, it allows me to be able to relax and deal with others in the life. Now, not all of us is training for the Olympics. I recognize that, but you may have your own Olympics that you want to train for. And, you know, God bless you on that. Whatever your Olympics is, pursue it, enjoy it, both in the biological, psychological, and social aspect of your life. Live your whole life. Whatever, however you see what is the supreme being, respect that supreme being and work that into your life. So with that, I asked my wife if she had any other comments. She normally want to give me a little advice. So no, okay. So at this time, I open up to okay, I said Dale sent the note. And any feedback, questions, comments that you may have? I know we get about 10 minutes.
Hey, I definitely wanted to say something real quick on one of those last slides that you had in the doctor's office where, you know, have some questions, have a conversation. I don't mind telling you, and maybe someone else can relate to this. Back in the day, when I would go to the doctor, you know, when we go to the doctor and we already felt all right, it was kind of usually because it was being mandated, right? You know, someone was telling us to go, so we kind of like had to go. So I don't know about y'all, but my goal was, yeah, just get it in, get out. I ain't really, you know, it was like, I'm looking at my watch the whole time. I got other things to do. So I wasn't concentrating on asking questions. What is it I can do to improve? Because you go in there and you're feeling better. Point being, when life slaps you upside the head and makes you recognize that you do not have an S on your chest, all of a sudden you start realizing you like, you know, all of a sudden the doctor seems to be the one that's leaving too fast. And you're like, wait a minute, hold on now. I got a conversation here for you. I need to ask, so, you know, how do I do this? Or I've heard, or I read this. And next thing you know, that used to be 15 minutes that you was in there. All of a sudden now it's 30 to 45 because of you having those questions. And it is, I just wanted to say, it's so important to make sure you're taking full advantage of that time, putting them to work to have a conversation with you, because that's what they're there for. They're a wealth of knowledge, but it's like anything else, a closed mouth doesn't get fed. So you absolutely have to pay attention to that and take advantage. I just wanted to say thank you so much, because I was just texting my wife, saying I am so glad that I was on this program this morning for both yourself, Colonel, and also Dr. Citizen as well, for what she said about the cells really hearing us and thoughts are things, you know, that was powerful. So thanks so much. And Dr. X, as always, for putting this all together. And this was powerful. Can't wait for it to go out and send it to everybody else. This should be mandatory for everybody in the group to have to look at this. I'm serious. It was that powerful.
Hey, Jesse.
Yes, sir, Mr. Dick.
I have a comment in that I'm sure that you have probably mentioned in the past in our conversation that you had the knee replacements, but I just didn't, it just kind of went over my head perhaps, right? But
actually, I don't talk about them too much.
Okay.
They got a problem now.
Well, I want to thank you for sharing that this morning, though, because when I heard you say that, and I thought about the fact that you're going to go ride 40 miles after this call this morning, and you had 2 knee replacements, there's no excuse for me. Man, I'm going to get on that bike and I'm going to conquer that thing. You know what I'm saying?
My wife also got me a terror gun for my birthday. You know
what terror gun is?
Yeah, it's a hydraulic massager, so it helps keep those muscles from killing you. So you might want to do that also before.
Thank you, man.
Yes, thank you.
And a lot of Epsom salt.
Oh yeah, definitely that works too. That's a holistic approach.
That's right.
I think we should call Jesse Steve Austin. He probably got the bionic knees.
That's right, right. He
Yeah,
comes
hey.
with it. He comes with his own theme music. That's right.
Yeah, I warm out running and basketball, a little racquetball in there too. So
Yeah.
I dress, but hey, Doc, thank you for the opportunity and for hosting, because you take care of the social side of that whole life approach and allowing us the forum to come together and to share our personal experiences and thoughts.
Oh, thank you. And again, thanks for everyone showing up. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you specifically, Jesse, for your input and your wife's input. It's very, very important for us to learn from professionals and from Black veterans that look like us, in which we can really take something away and have immediate practical application as we get into our weekend. So after this, you will get a recording of this presentation. You will also get Jesse's presentation, his PowerPoint. You will get a free copy of my e-workbook. And you will also in this email have an invitation to speak in a future Saturday morning conversation. So that will be coming to you later on this afternoon. But you know, again, thanks. Really, really appreciate it. And if anyone wants to reach out to me or anyone on here, you know, feel free to do so. Thanks again, and make it a great weekend. Take care.
Take care. Goodbye, everybody.
God bless.
God bless. Yes.
Goodbye.